recognized tournament put on by Rock Coast Rollers here in Rockport, Maine. You are about to witness the face-off of Shore Point's Roller Derby and Bangor Roller Derby. My name is Beautiful Banshee, and I am here with McLovin and OM Jin. How we doing, guys?
We're doing great.
Very exciting.
Yes.
Here we are, the first semifinal match of this tournament. So these two teams will be playing to get into the final against the winner of our 7:30 game, which is the Rock Coast Rollers versus the Bay State Brawlers.
Yes, and the jam has begun, so we're off into the first game. We have Nurse Heartless for Bangor wearing the Jammer Star up against Mego for Shore Points. Both jammers facing some fierce competition. Those walls, though.
Whew.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
It appears to be Nurse Heartless breaking through first with lead, but Mego is hot on her heels. And as we have seen last year at Coastal Chaos and last night, Mego's strides are amazing. She's incredibly speedy, very solid, so you got to be careful if she sneaks up on you.
Absolutely, and she gets to top speed really quickly.
Yes.
Before you know it, she's by you. It's like 3 strides, and she's making that first turn.
Exactly, 0 to 100 real quick. So back on the track, we do have 1979 for Shore Points. That's Kid Vicious. It looks like that must be Hammer Down with Bangor getting all low.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hammer's down. So starting that off, we're going to take a moment and introduce you to our teams. Who do we have there?
Bangor Roller Derby is in orange if you're looking at home. At number 3, Allison Donovan. Number 8, Bounty. 10, Nurse Heartless. 12, Midnight Smack. 14, Fanta Tick. 23, KTNT. 29, Ginger Ailment. 44, Obnoxus. 70, as we just talked about, Hammer Down. Don't need to see her number to know who she is. 74 is Siren Plague.
14 is actually fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they
there you
put
go.
Those.
Yes, not fantastic.
Right. That's a much better name, actually. 81 is Killer Mesmalls. And
Killer Meesmalls.
Meesmalls. And 907 is Bloodbath McGrath. And rounding out the roster is 265, Little Rosie Rotten.
Yes, and Bangor Roller Derby is coached by Flux and Head Bruiser. I'm happy to present to you Shore Point's Roller Derby. Back on the track, just wanted to review. There is a lead of 6-3 in favor of Bangor Roller Derby right now. 27 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the first half. Siren Plague out there with lead jammer for Bangor up against Lemonade of Shore Points. And that Shore Points roster consists of number 2, Miranda Slambert, number 10, Scarlet, 17, Mego, 25, Lemonade, 68, Lulu to the Barricades, 85, Buns and Roses, 145, Ice 9, 333, JJ Mayday, 382, Choo Choo Trainwreck, 1979, Kid Vicious, 5150, Rip Van Atta, and 21, Wheels Be Rolling. Shore Points Roller Derby is coached by PJ.
And Mego is on the jammer line for Shore Points. And she is going to be mixing it up against Nurse Heartless.
Yes, we've seen this very familiar usage in the jammer rotations for both teams. Heartless and Mego clutch for their specific teams. And just to point out, last jam was a 4-0 jam in favor of Bangor. 10 points Bangor, 3 points Shore Points. And they are neck and neck with Nurse Heartless taking lead.
And last night against Granite State, they jumped out to a quick early lead too, and that really suited them well. Through all the momentum swings, that early cushion made a huge difference for them.
Oh, absolutely. And the Shore Points Mass Attack game yesterday was incredible. It was the nail-biter of the day. Definitely just keeping everyone on edge. It was a 1-point game pretty consistently up until the last few jams. So both teams definitely went into full beast mode to get here.
Absolutely. A lot of drama those first 2 games, and the 2 winners facing off here to get into our final.
Okay.
I'll tell you, what I've really noticed, the difference this year with the improvement in the quality of play is all the teams seem to be able to play that lockdown D. That makes a huge difference, really making the jammers to work to get through that first time around.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just it about Coastal Chaos 2016. Granted, it is the second year that Rock Coast Rollers has hosted, but it has been recognized by the WFTDA as a high-quality WFTDA member-hosted tournament, which they do recognize many worldwide. So that says a lot about what Rock Coast does here, as well as the teams in attendance.
Absolutely. The Bangor Roller Derby's pivot just got sent to the penalty box, so Bounty's going to take a quick break.
Yes, and on the track, it does appear that Hammerdown, with her lead, she is fighting her way around, and a bit of a pileup on turn 2. Right as the jam is called, we'll see what the official points were.
8 more points for Bangor Roller Derby. So they are scoring quick and calling the jam, building lots of momentum. Lemonade skating for short points, looks to turn it around here in our third jam?
Fifth
jam, wow.
Yeah.
It all goes so fast.
It's lightning speed, so quick. I can't keep up. But that is Lemonade, and she is jamming against Nurse Heartless of Bangor. And just to confirm, we do have Bounty standing in the penalty box for Bangor, and it appears that Scarlett had gone to the penalty box for short points.
We have a power jam now for Bangor Roller Derby.
And that was a back block call up against Lemonade. So that leaves Nurse Heartless as lead jammer with the power jam opportunity. Oh, my.
Oh, she
Let's
moves
see what
through
they
them
do.
like a hot knife through butter.
She is not somebody you want to give that power jam to. She's going to take it and run.
Yes, we've discussed this.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where if you're her opposition,
Oh, a swing and a
kind of
miss.
say, oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean for that to happen.
Ice 9 tried to lay a body on her, but she was just too shifty.
That's true. Nurse Heartless has some very speedy feet. She's just a very consistent, determined jammer. Great to see. Had the pleasure of seeing her skate a little bit this year because she was a part of Team Maine at Battle of the All-Stars earlier on.
Big hit by Obnoxus there. Welcomed Lemonade back into the game with a bone-rattling hit right there.
And it appears that Nurse Heartless was met with some fierce opposition up front from Scarlett, as well as number 21, Wheelsby Roland. She managed to juke to the inside line and evade them. You'll see a little bit of speed picking up. Bangor taking the front of the pack in hopes to catch and then recycle Lemonade.
And we've got a 30-point jam right now for Bangor Roller Derby. They are really trying to give themselves a little breathing room here, and they are keep going. So this is where that conditioning pays off.
Absolutely, cardio time. And speaking of cardio time, there are only 2 blockers remaining on the track for Bangor because it appears Obnoxus went to the box on a multiplayer block penalty.
Wow.
So a couple weeks ago in a game, Heartless jammed the very first jam of the game, 30 points, all hers.
Look at that, 38.
I know.
38.
Exactly.
Wow.
And just to confirm, actually it was corrected to 37, so that leaves the score at 57 in favor of Bangor to 6 for short points. We have 22 minutes left on the clock. And again, for those just tuning in, we have short points in black with yellow accent, and we have Bangor with orange and purple.
Both looking very smart this evening.
Speaking of, check out Mego coming around that turn. She has lead, and with those speedy feet.
Yeah, she's going to do some damage quickly, and there is plenty of time for Shore Point to work their way back into this game.
Indeed, and Hammerdown was swept to the rear of the pack and recycled, but she manages to break free. Mego now at the back of the pack. That 4-wall, little Rosie Rotten laying a shoulder, sending her to the infield. I don't think that was expected.
No, absolutely not. But 7-1 jam, that's great. Just one jam at a time. They're going to work their way back in.
Absolutely, making strides for Shore Point's roller derby.
And right now we've got Kid Vicious lined up on the jammer line for Shore Points. And
Nurse Heartless.
Ice 9 trying to open up some space for her.
Pack advantage goes to Bangor right now as only 2 Shore Points blockers remain on the track due to a little penalty difficulty.
And it's early still, but Miranda Slambert and Ice 9 doing what they can do to create a little space.
Trying to play a little O for their jammer. Let's see if it's working. It appears that she remains in the pack. So Kid Vicious being held back by that wall of orange. Meanwhile, Nurse Heartless adding 5 more to the board.
She's got a lot of room to work with there. And she's got those shifty legs too. Makes quick work of the pack there, and she's through for another round.
Short
See those points come on up.
Short
There's
points regrouping as well because their 2 blockers in the box were set free. So now they're going to attempt to distract that Bangor defense that's been working so hard on Kid Vicious. And again, we may see another huge jam from Nurse Heartless. A little bit of speed out there as Short Points decides to take the pace of the pack and really crank it up a notch.
And these are not short jams either. They're milking it for all it's worth. So let's hope that their conditioning can hold. They are, I think, Short Points. Now that may be an advantage for Bangor, but it looks like Short Points is down a few skaters. They've got 11, I guess, 11 on the roster.
They do, and it appears that Short Points actually is keeping with the same number from last night's game. So I don't see anything all that drastic, but both teams really, it appears off of their main rosters, they did have a few subtractions. Still holding their own here at Coastal Chaos 2016. Back to the track, Mego is at it again, picking up lead, and we do have a lot of motion out there. Looks like Hammer Down really driving Short Points to the edge of the engagement zone, able to bypass that 2 wall of number 85, Buns and Roses, accompanied by Scarlet.
And I like when there's all that space to work with out there.
Absolutely, especially if that space includes the inside line. We know how much jammers love it because it's the shortest distance around the track.
Absolutely.
And just a couple things to note. Just be aware that these teams are playing for their international rankings. They are hoping to qualify for the 2016 International WFTA playoffs and championships this fall. Whether you are participating on the track or cheering in the stands or watching on WFTDA.tv via New England Derby Report, the WFTDA tournaments provide everyone who loves roller derby the opportunity to witness the most anticipated matchups of the year. And we'll keep you posted on the champ states we have for both D2 and D1 playoffs, as well as the championships coming up in November. Appears we do have a back block call on number 25. That is Lemonade for Short Points.
So we have another power jam for Bangor. So you may want to mark your calendar, though, Banshee. The playoff seeding day will be July 15th.
Absolutely. So it appears that it is Siren Plague out there doing work for Bangor. Big hit onto Scarlet, but she is swept to the outside, if only for a brief moment.
As solid body contact.
Absolutely.
A little bit of a scrum. But they just all keep moving their feet. Siren Plague works her way through.
And we have a braced 2-wall. That would be Little Rosie Rotten, accompanied by Bounty and Killer Me Smalls.
Oh, that looked a little high. Siren Plague calls the jam. Seems to be saying, you hit me in the face.
I think it's more of, okay, we collided and I'm done.
I've got the instant replay of Siren Plague being knocked down on that first turn right there.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Boom.
Ooh.
That was a hard hit down.
That was a very hard hit.
We've been told that this floor is completely unforgiving.
Yes. Yeah.
It really is. We know that even from just standing on it.
Well, luckily for those of us at the table, we've had the pleasure of sitting for a while, so it gives us a nice little break.
Absolutely.
And that is Kid Vicious taking on Nurse Heartless off the jammer line. The pack coming around to turn 3. A bit of speed. It is Kid Vicious emerging, if only just a few steps ahead of Nurse Heartless.
Absolutely. She's hot on her tail.
The pack's picking up some speed as Bangor is willing
Oh!
Okay, and that appears to be a slide out from Kid Vicious as she calls the jam, bringing the score to 82 points. Bangor Roller Derby 17 Short Points. Just shy of 16 minutes remain in the first half.
She catches up to her and then gives her a little bit of the business.
She definitely did.
There's nothing wrong with that. Adding insult to injury.
We have a 4-on-4 pack lineup. Bangor taking the jammer line and hopes to pull a quick catch on Mego. Probably the wisest strategy at this particular moment. We know that she is the one to stop.
Absolutely. They're trying to lay a body on her quickly before she can build up some momentum. Because once she gets going, it's exceedingly difficult to stop her. We are halfway through our first half here of this semifinal game. Mego is your lead jammer.
And it appears we do have one Shore Points blocker off to the box. That's 51-50. Rip Van Atta. Followed by Siren Plague, the pivot for Bangor.
Making hammer down work really hard.
We have the 2-wall up front for Shore Points. Meanwhile, a braced 2-wall spearheaded by Bounty.
Wow, no
Mego
stopping Mego though. She would
Steps
not be
right
denied.
around and calls.
I like those triangles. Really make for solid defense.
It does, because when you have a brace in the front, they can control the speed of that wall. So you have the two blockers working to do what some of us call no daylight. So you want to make sure that you have a no light peeking through, because that means the less light coming through, the less likely a jammer shoulder or hip or leg can get through.
Yes.
And it looks like
Nurse Heartless breaking through.
Back at it again, facing off against Kid Vicious. Again, we're seeing that very tight jammer rotation from both teams. Penalty box emptying out. Good thing for both teams.
Kid Vicious works for every inch. She really does.
Absolutely. And I think specifically in this game, we're going to see such fierce competitors. The blockers are going to make the jammers for each side work for every little bit of that track.
Yeah, and as the weekend wears on, this becomes as much about endurance as it is about skill and strategy.
Absolutely. And we have 86 points in favor of Bangor Roller Derby. That was a 4-0 jam for them, to 31 for Shore Points. Just over 13 minutes remain in that first half. We have Mego jamming for Shore Points. Up again, little Rosie Rotten in her striped shorts there.
Ooh.
She takes lead. And you'll notice both teams, McLovin, are very well-rounded.
Yeah, Choo Choo Trainwreck took out a couple of Bangor Roller Derby skaters, created a little space.
Just a little.
Well timed, too. We've got 12 and a half minutes left in this first half. Bangor Roller Derby holding on to an 86-31 lead.
And we know that this is the first appearance, this year is the first appearance of Bangor Roller Derby at Coastal Chaos 2016. They came in unranked. However, they have definitely asserted their presence in the world of flat track roller derby.
Yes.
That's right. They won't be unranked for long.
Now, after this tournament, I believe they will fare very well.
Absolutely.
All right, Siren Plague is out there up against JJ Mayday.
There are bodies flying everywhere. No one wants to give an inch. Whole lot of recycling going on.
Right, and the great thing is that Bangor's defense, it was a big hit from that wall, including Microphone Assassin, also known as Allison Donovan. And it was Donovan who strung back to almost the 20 feet for the engagement zone, really taking back JJ Mayday. And I believe cutting the track penalty was forced from that. So she is off to the penalty box. We do have a power jam in favor of Siren Plague and Bangor.
There she goes, approaching the pack, finding a way through. Very easy on that inside oval.
Siren Plague's expression is always just so, this is breezy. Just
Yeah.
Nonchalantly, hop, skip over this, hop over that,
No
twirl
big
around
whoop.
this. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
What we're going to have to do is you'll have to make a GIF of her doing some grand motion, be it a spin or an apex jump, and just put across the bottom. No big whoop.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Could be utter chaos going on around her,
That's
too,
right.
and she's just
Exactly.
floating through.
Well, and she floated through partially due to some help from her blockers. There was a little bit of offensive chaos
There was,
provided.
yep.
It was very helpful. On the track, who do we have there?
Nurse Heartless is your lead jammer.
Now, Nurse Heartless's previous skating, she actually played hockey.
I am not surprised with
Yeah.
that style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I see a lot of similarities in just some of the steps she takes and her strides, similar to Dorcas Maximus
Who?
of Mass Attack,
Right.
because she also has a hockey background. So it all comes together.
Yeah.
That's right. Not afraid to mix it up in the corners either.
No.
Oh,
Ooh.
big hit. Allison Donovan,
It was a
bone rattling.
lovely shoulder sending JJ Mayday to the floor. But Mayday pops right back up, really trying to push that braced 2 wall of Little Rosie Rotten and Killer Me Smalls, braced by Donovan.
Great defense here.
Donovan's doing a great job controlling the speed as that front brace.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but they're just locking it down.
That's just it. If you have a speedy jammer, which most are, but in the case of effective strategy, if you really slow them down with some of the skaters, it really affects their mental game because they get incredibly frustrated because they're not able to get past that quagmire. And in this case, she finally does surpass the wall. It does take a while, burn some seconds off that clock.
Yeah, and then it ends up being a lot of work for nothing because by the time they're through, the other team is scoring and letting them work and then calling the jam. So that
Indeed.
does start to get in your head.
Yes, and then also, too, if you do need to play offense for your own jammer, sometimes it gets a little dicey. But that was a 21-point jam for Bangor. Score is 112-31 in favor of Bangor Roller Derby. Just shy of 9 minutes left in the half.
It's all going by awfully quick.
It is. It's such a fast-paced game. I love it.
Heavy action on the track. And hammer down, spins her way to lead jammer status.
Meanwhile, Bangor doing their work to hold back Mego. We have Little Rosie Rotten along with Bounty. Oh, a bit of a tumble as Mego comes into the wall.
Let's hope everyone's okay.
Just trying to see what that call was. Headless Horseman, her back is is to us, so I couldn't exactly tell. I'll get clarification on that, not to worry, but it does appear Bangor gets the power start due to Mego heading to the box.
And it makes such a difference, and they really are dominating the lead jammer game. So they just take over when you can control that jam. It makes all the difference in the world because you call it, you can get your points, and end it quickly. And they're just.
It gives you more time for more jams, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
and
gives
it just
you more opportunity for more points.
Yeah, and either they can milk the clock to protect a lead, or they can score and call it quick if they need to pile up some points. But right now, they have opened up a pretty comfortable lead, 117-31, with just under 8 minutes left in this first half.
Okay, and I was able to confirm what penalty is being served by Mego. Thanks to our alt ref, Axis of Stevel, he was able to confirm for us it was a low block that she received.
I thought she received a low
Received
block.
the call, the penalty.
Actually.
Bangor received the actual action. And that gives Siren Plague the power start and a little bit of a busy penalty box for short points right now.
Yeah, it's lonely out there for short points. Choo Choo Trainwreck is out there along with Scarlett, who's the pivot, but they've got their work cut out for them here as they try to hold on as long as they can to keep this game in reach.
Short points trying with that braced 2 wall, but they break apart a little too easily in order to string out that engagement zone at front, but it's just not enough to hold Siren Plague.
Those brace 2 walls always remind me of a game of Red Rover, Red Rover. The locked arms and someone's trying to bust through.
But the great thing about the brace 2 wall is that there aren't any links, so therefore they eliminate the possibility of the multiplayer block.
Right.
Because Red Rover, if that took place in Derby, penalties all over the place.
Yeah, and a lot more blood, I would imagine.
Oh, I don't like it. We don't like it when there's blood on the track. That means the game would have to stop for safety reasons.
Absolutely.
Nurse
Great
Harless.
album by Bob Dylan, though,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
There you go. I didn't even mean to make that reference,
Yeah.
but totally did. Nurse Heartless taking lead jammer, and it appears that Kid Vicious is in the pack, working her way past a 2-wall right up front, but she is recycled. Not quite enough to hold her. She still has a quarter lap lag behind Nurse Heartless.
Nurse Heartless surveying the scene, trying to find a way through. She's engaged up there on turn 3. Is that turn 2?
That's turn 2.
That's turn 2.
Yeah.
3's over there.
I got a little instant replay
Oh,
of
here we
Nurse
go.
Heartless juking and jiving around everybody. Woo!
Woo.
Oh, it's a beautiful
Right there.
thing.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
It's like she has an extra set of hips there.
I know.
Amazing.
So impressive. She just
She's like
around
double
this
hinged.
side, around this side, and through this.
Nice
You can-
camera work.
Thank you, OMG. That was perfect because we do have an official review right now, as signaled by one of our officials, Michael Matan. We are going to take a minute and just fill you in on a few things happening. We have that bracket to check in on, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's have a quick shout out to Vegemite Slamwich, a retired
yes.
Rock Coast roller skater who is doing a heck of a job as the tape ninja. The track looks wonderful.
Hey there, Mighty. Nicely done. And it looks like we have the cheerleaders over there as well, including a banana.
Oh, the banana, yes.
Cheerleader's
It's been a while.
awesome.
Yes.
I
the-
love the jewelry.
So for those at home, the one part of this experience that you really miss out on is the joy brought to the venue by the cheerleaders here at Rock Coast Rollers. It's a blast, really, so you'll have to take our word for it. But coming up, we do have one more game today, 7:30. It's going to be another just complete edge of your seat game. That'll be Rock Coast Rollers' Perfect Storm against the Punishers of Bay State Brawlers Roller Derby. Both teams just killing it. Bay State had a great game. Nice win over New Hampshire Roller Derby this morning. And last night, Rock Coast really just taking a huge win over Fredericksburg. So that's going to be another one getting to our championship game that it's just going to be thoroughly enjoyable, and I may just lose my words.
Yeah, you could see, I mean, the Rock Coast Rollers were playing with so much heart and adrenaline and excitement. They've worked so hard to get this tournament together. You could see how eager they were to actually get out there and skate and play, and they were just like a steamroller last night.
Absolutely, and we'll have clarification on the official review. It'll be just a moment. I'll give you that. If you want to fill us in on what's coming up tomorrow, do we have that information?
We sure do. So I believe the losers bracket will have the morning games, and they'll work their way to their final.
Yep, 10 a.m.
Starting at 10 a.m.
Yep, and then we go to 12.
12, and that will be Granite State and New Hampshire Roller Derby for I guess they're fighting for the pride of New Hampshire for the consolation champions. That, though, is that'll be for the 5th place of the tournament, and then once the afternoon rolls around, you will start having your finals. So, yeah, the 2 p.m. game is the consolation championship. Then Sunday at 4 will be the tournament champions, and that will be the winner of the 2 games tonight. So the winner of this first game and then the winner of the Brawlers versus Perfect Storm.
Okay, and just while we were talking, we get back to gameplay, and it is a power jam. Initially, it was a power jam in favor of Shore Points because there was a cutting the track penalty assessed to a Little Rosie Rotten of Bangor. But then we had, I believe it was Lemonade. I apologize if it is Lemonade, okay, who ended up in the penalty box as well. I missed her call. So now we have a very brief power jam in favor of Bangor. Also, I received clarification on that official timeout. Shore Points was seeking a cutting the track penalty on the orange jammer because of a move made. The alleged cut occurred between turns 1 and 4. They were denied the call, so they lose their official review, and gameplay continues.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get a call made retroactively, it seems.
Well, they tended to it immediately at end of jam, which there's nothing wrong with. That's how it should be done. And, as long as it's founded and if it can be confirmed by officials that it was deemed appropriate, they will issue the penalty. In this case, it was not. And
we've got a star pass.
yes. Over to number 3, Allison Donovan. A multiplayer block was assessed to number 21. That is Wheels B. Roland for short points.
Okay, so there is a lot of room out on the track right now. We are just under 4 minutes left in this first half. Bangor is up 140-31.
Indeed, that was a big 12-point jam for Bangor.
They are just creating distance. We are 20 jams in, and there's a difference of 105 points. It's an average of 5 points a jam.
I know. I love it. McLovin, you did all the math. It's great because math is hard sometimes. Math is hard when you're talking about rankings. At least that's what I find difficult.
Yes.
However, this math, pretty simple. We can handle it.
Yeah,
Good
a little
job.
division, And if you say it quick enough, no one's really checking you.
They're going to check your math. No, you were correct. And it does appear we have Nurse Heartless up against Mego out there. Nurse Heartless taking lead. Mego very quick to come around just past Nurse Heartless, but she is smart enough to call off the jam. 5 points go on that board in the process, making it a 110-point lead for Bangor, 145-35, 2 minutes, 40 seconds remain in the half.
And we have 2 fresh minutes on that jam clock. Everyone's ready. Looks like we'll get a little bonus time here if it all plays out the way we'd like it to.
Perhaps. And I will say, I'm glad that the minutes are fresh because we know the gear is not.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, I called that the men's exhibition game, and that's a whole different level of stink in the arena.
You're exactly
of fresh
right.
gear,
It is.
it was amazing. It was like a fog dropped down in here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Derby Stink is Derby Stink. They're all varying degrees, but it can be pretty nasty. But I like to say that's the stink of victory. And speaking of, Hammerdown took the victory of lead jammer for Bangor. She's up against Kid Vicious. We have
Working around.
things getting spread out a bit on the track, but that's all right. She makes it around. Quick call off before Kid Vicious can score any points.
Just a minute and a half left in this game. And we'll have a little bit of downtime before halftime, and everyone will come back ready for another 30 minutes of Derby action.
Exactly. And just a couple of things to touch on. So we were talking about how international rankings are compiled by the different games played, all the sanctioned gameplay. So the 2016 International WFTDA Playoffs and Championships are starting to happen in August. The playoff seeding day will be July 15th, 2016. And if you want more information on that, you can go to WFTDA.com/tournaments. Division II playoffs take place August 19th through 21st in Wichita, Kansas, hosted by ICT Roller Girls. Following weekend, August 26th to 28th in Lansing, Michigan, they're hosted by the Lansing Derby Vixens. And then we have Division I playoffs in September. First weekend, the 2nd to the 4th in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, hosted by Montreal Roller Derby. And then the 9th to 11th in Columbia, South Carolina, hosted by the Columbia Quad Squad. September 16th to 18th in Vancouver, British Columbia, hosted by Terminal City. So if you feel like exploring Canada, you can go to Montreal at the beginning of the month. Mid-month, go to Vancouver. And then tie it all up, September 23rd to 25th in Madison, Wisconsin, hosted by the Mad Rollin' Dolls. And then, of course, the penultimate championships, November 4th to 6th in Portland, Oregon, hosted by Rose City Rollers, the current champions of the WFTDA.
How does one get an invite to that Vancouver tournament?
Well, what do you mean by an invite? Are you talking about making sure you are seated to play?
Or being invited to announce.
Well,
find our way there.
You will just
Sounds
have
like you want to go to Vancouver.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have to inquire with the WFTDA. And don't forget, we are being live streamed here on WFTDA.tv thanks to New England Derby Report providing the stream. So we are glad to be here. And thanks again to those Rock Coast Rollers for putting on Coastal Chaos 2016. We've returned to gameplay. Nurse Heartless jamming against Mego.
Mego's going to the box.
Picking up a cutting the track penalty, which was not necessarily typical based upon previous gameplay here at the tournament. Mego skated rather cleanly, so tonight we've seen her visit the box a few times.
Surprised. Although I don't have a great view of turn 2 over there.
That's the thing. We do our best, but the great thing is New England Derby Report has some great camera angles, helps us out. Not going to lie, I do cheat a little by glancing over at that, but it appears that Nurse Heartless really using her low center of gravity and edges on her skates with that fantastic footwork to avoid Choo Choo Trainwreck, who could have really put a hurting on her.
Absolutely.
And again, met by Choo Choo Trainwreck and the remaining Shore Points defense, really taking it all the way to that edge of the engagement zone. She manages to force the out-of-play block call. That is on number 85, Buns and Roses, who goes off to the penalty box.
It's very tricky because they're playing offense and defense at the same time. So they want to engage, but they also do not want to hang their jammer out to dry.
Indeed. And Mego actually went off to the penalty box. There was a cutting the track penalty once again. And as you were saying, that switch from offense to defense, it's very quick. Essentially, once your own jammer gets through the pack, you have maybe 10 seconds, if you're lucky, to play once the opposing jammer to play a little offense to get your own jammer through. So the time is limited. You have to make the most of it and be very alert.
And that's why communication is so key. And you can tell when teams are locked in and when they're communicating because they make that transition seamlessly.
Absolutely. And some teams, depending upon how long they've been playing together or just how well they mesh, sometimes, I know I've had other skaters that I have been on teams with where you don't even have to say a word. That person is there. You can feel them there. You don't have to tell them to be there. So it's really great. You see that a lot with Bangor, actually. But just to tie it up for the first half, huge 35-point jam for Bangor, 184 points.
I didn't even realize it was halftime.
Yeah, 184 points to 35 points. We have 14 and a half minutes at halftime. We're going to be back shortly. Thank you, McLovin and Oh My Gin. We will see you shortly.
Nice chatting with you, Banshee.